The internet is a wild and unpredictable place home to countless communities and niches where people can connect over almost anything. One such community, and the focus of today's video, centers around Hudzell, who's the owner of a successful Roblox development studio behind the popular games Parkour and Parkour Reborn. While these games' success has brought Hudzell significant attention, not all of it has been positive, as he's not only been accused but has done some truly disgusting things himself. What are these things? Well, if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll find out in full detail. However, if any of these sensitive topics may affect you, please feel free to click off the video. Links to sources that I'm allowed to give you will be provided in the description. Thank you, and enjoy. In March of 2024, both of Hudzell's Parkour Discord servers were raided as an administrator's account named Diabetesor was compromised. The account was compromised, according to Hudzell, because the owner had opened a fishy file. It was a pretty random thing to happen, nevertheless, and the people who compromised Diabetesor's account claimed they had chat logs of Hudzell talking about raping animals, and even a video of Hudzell, doing his dog. The compromisers claimed the DMs alongside the video would be leaked in the future, and this of course never actually happened for obvious reasons. It's not real. This is the admin we paid $250 for access to admin perms. The owner of Parkour and the dev Diabetesor have DMs talking about raping animals, and such will be leaked in the future. There's more down here. You can read it yourself. These people who raided the Discord servers also did some horrible things, just want to let you know. I'm not promoting their behavior in any way or anything like that. These are bad people and they did it for attention. But again, the leaking never happened. What did happen though, seemingly in coordination with the server's raid, was the discovery of Hudzell's NSFW Twitter account, as Hudzell had shared a link to this private account on his main in late 2023. Some pretty jarring content had been retweeted there. One tweet reposted by Hudzell showcasing two Pokemon characters on his dogs having was called out by several users of the platform for clearly being like art. And yeah, there's the screenshot. Pretty disgusting stuff if you ask me or most people on the internet. And the image, after Hudzell had reposted it for whatever reason that I can't quite put my finger on, began stirring up some controversy. Hudzell, in a now deleted tweet, initially denies the fact that the art is what many would consider and a user known as Yukistan replies, "This is literally some effing BS to map out what you did. It was literally a drawing of a dog. Don't come at me saying it was X because blah blah blah. It was literally a dog." Hudzell responds with exactly what Yukistan tells him not to respond with, as he continues to play mental gymnastics, saying, "You clearly don't understand the difference. It may look like a dog to you, but is it really a dog? Can you feel its fur? Does it have a beating heart? No? Then it's not a dog." This would be the end of the interaction between the two on Twitter that I'm aware of. After being berated by a large group of people on the website, Hudzell would respond to these allegations. Quote, "As for the other allegation, my only statement is that I'm not as the content I consume I do not consider zoophilic, and if your opinion differs, it's not any of your business." Hudzell continues to argue against the fact that the feral art he reposted is what many would consider zoophilic content, with him even at some point going as far as to claim the animals in the drawing were anthropomorphic. If you can classify a drawing of a four-legged dog with animal genitalia as strictly anthropomorphic art, maybe Google the definition of the word anthropomorphic. I'm sure what you find will be truly eye-opening. Quote, "A four-legged dog is not anthropomorphic, dude. Sorry to break it to you." Anthropomorphism is not the same as bipedalism. A quadruped can absolutely be anthropomorphic if it expresses or is displayed. The quadruped you are referencing was depicted with realistic animal genitalia, also being associated with an artist that has drawn feral media countless times in the past. To put it short, Hudzell regularly consumes feral porn and has defended it and still continues to this day. More on that later though. Someone on the internet was quick to point out that Hudzell's defense of the art he reposts is similar to how lolicons justify consuming lolly. For the uninitiated, this is what lolicon is. A user known as PCG7 replied to one of Hudzell's many posts during the drama, most likely jokingly asking, "Is lolicon pedophilia?" Hudzell would respond with a short and simple no. This reply would result in a large amount of backfire on Twitter, and I don't think this should come as a surprise to anyone. And after being once again berated by the Twitter horde, he decides to elaborate a little more on what he meant by this simple one-worded answer. Hudzell in the screenshot is replying to someone who says, "Except you made multiple statements saying it was complicated and this all led back to you." Because it is complicated, it has a lot of social factors playing into its definition, but the general consensus is that it's bad, and some countries like America have outright banned it. There's a lot of different angles you could take to define lolly, but in my eyes, the mere act of consuming such content would not automatically label you a pedophile piece of trash garbage, as actually abusing a child would. Again, his views on this topic would remain relatively the same for a short while, with him pretty much stating that it's not inherently wrong to look at sexualized depictions of young children lustfully, so long as you haven't actually abused them. Hudzell would even try to claim that the original screenshot was taken out of context. I would rather not be associated with the out of context screenshot everyone's passing around. It's why I deleted the reply in the first place, because it doesn't properly represent my stance on this very serious topic in clear detail. There's not really any context needed, as the screenshot that had been floating around was pretty much just a detailed version of what he had posted on Twitter before, but I digress. He would, nevertheless, continue to receive a huge amount of backlash until he finally dropped his previous opinions, seemingly giving into the criticism that had been shot at him previously, and for good reason. Before today, I've been operating under an incorrect definition of pedophilia. In my mind, a pedophile was defined as someone who considers or has already a minor. This led to my infamous answer of no to the question, is pedophilia. However, now I understand that the most productive and correct definition includes those who consider or fantasize about sexually assaulting a minor. In light of this, my official answer going forward to is yes. I apologize for the confusion. Hudzell, an at the time 22-year-old man, claims his reasoning for saying something like is because he operates under his own definitions of words. Very serious words, in fact, that refer to illegal and immoral things. The definition of pedophilia from Wikipedia, once again, is that it's a psychiatric disorder in which an adult or older adolescent experiences a primary or exclusive sexual attraction to prepubescent children. Not the definition he had run under himself, which was something similar to someone's only a pedophile if they've sexually assaulted a child. They are very similar, however, very, very different. This is a constant problem for Hudzell, which is probably the reason why he thinks consuming feral porn isn't immoral or totally wrong in the first place. It may come as a surprise to absolutely nobody that Hudzell has another account on Twitter that he's still active on. This account's handle is TaylorAin01. In the location section of his bio on his NSFW account, Hudzell links the account's name and states the content shared there is strictly safe for work. However, if you haven't already guessed, the case is actually pretty much the opposite. While no hardcore porn is outright shared or reposted on this account, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of sexually suggestive art that is up and has been up on the account since its inception. Some of the content posted that appears on his safe for work account also appears on his not safe for work account, which is, I really don't know what to say here, honestly. I'll put some text up on the screen for my opinion. There isn't a whole lot of borderline NSFW reposts on his safe for work account, which is a good thing, admittedly, but begs the question, why is it even there in the first place, you know? A majority of the content is what I would consider cute furry art, wholesome and usually not suggestive unless you consider art of furries cuddling as suggestive, then I mean, I guess. However, with this being said, this shouldn't undermine what he's been reposting, especially as of recently. Hoy hago un mes con mi amorcito. That's cute. I've been with my partner for a month. Pants off. I mean, again, not that big of a deal, but this is crazy. Thighs. There's some more tummy and thighs for you. I swear it's just a back massage. Incredible art done by Ward Fart Squat. Paw review. Paw review instead of foot fetish. It's a paw fetish. Is that like a thing? Paws? Wowza, arf, arf. Meow. Long story short, yes, I do lounge this way quite often. It's very comfortable. Kind of some sexual femboy stuff. It is so easy to not groom minors. You heard it from Hudzell himself. There's a giant bulge on that femboy. I hope my neighbors aren't looking in through my window right now. That would be really weird. Hey, this is post-editing Jamesrr. This just in, Hudzell reposted this on his main account. Like, this isn't even photoshopped. I can reload my Twitter page and show this to you. Are you on the wrong account? I'm assuming so. What's going on with that, man? Anyways, back to the actual video. Hudzell's NSFW account is full of very questionable porn. He is undoubtedly very active on his alts and even just Twitter in general. And I would like to show you some of the stuff that he has been reposting, but I can't exactly show you anything that was on his profile for obvious reason. However, what I can do is give you a brief rundown of everything that I found. Okay, here we go. These drawings of animals, specifically canids, quadrupedal animals having sex. This includes dragons, cats, and dogs, realistic animal genitalia on quad and bipedal characters, and most notably of all, snake vor. I don't think there's really an issue with Hudzell having an NSFW Twitter account, as he's an adult and he can do what he wants, but at the end of the day, the content he consumes is definitely questionable, and don't forget, potentially harmful to himself and the people around him. Furthermore, the fact that Hudzell has advertised his NSFW account with this god-awful content being on full display there to his main account's Twitter followers, as well as, indirectly, but it still happened, the members in his Discord server, is truly disgusting. But I would rather not revive old drama, which is why I'll be walking this thread, but it's come to my attention attention that there's still people who hold resentment towards me for having my 18+ Twitter account discoverable through my Discord profile, which is frequented by minors. This is no longer the case. My 18+ account is no longer accessible through my public profiles. I apologize for the hard stance I previously took on it being a non-issue. It was an issue, and I have since realized this and corrected my mistake. Additionally, I would like to address the other portions of this past drama. Regardless of personal beliefs, there is no evidence supporting the extreme claims made against me. Please do not believe everything you read on the internet. Keep in mind that Hudzell had literally denied the fact that this was even slightly an issue for a long time. I'm not sure of the exact dates, but from what it seems like, it was a pretty long time. I think it's really sad that this happened, and I think the fact that he did this without thinking is really disgusting. There's not really anything the apology can do to change my mind or most people's mind. I must say though, Hudzell is right about not believing everything you see on the internet. That's the main reason why this video was entitled Hudzell the insert word here, because a lot of the claims made on the internet, specifically in the Parkour Discord server that I've seen, are just blatantly false, like, you know, calling him a pedophile and stuff like that with just, you know, no proof at all. And it's almost comical how many unprovable allegations are flying around about this. During and after the Discord server raids, as a form of damage control, Hudzell and his staff team would blacklist certain terms to censor the amount of harassment he would receive. These phrases included, but were certainly not limited to, any discussions of the raid, joke comments about how the game is finished or over, misinformation, probably due to the massive spike in people calling him a pedophile, and any slander related to Hudzell whatsoever. All of these would get you instantly punished in the server if you were caught talking about them, by the way, and they're all still against the rules as of November 23rd, 2024, and it will most likely remain this way. I believe this is the reason the situation didn't get too much attention from large content creators while it happened. People who were almost certainly close to Hudzell have also been the only people to make videos about the situation, a majority of which would either intentionally not cover the situation with Hudzell's NSFW account, or would completely gloss over the fact that some of the comments he made that day were even said at all. These videos provide almost zero entertainment or educational value to the viewers, and are also put together quite poorly. There's been no coverage of the situation by a YouTuber or content creator who has over 10,000 subscribers, and the biggest content creator who has even recognized that this has happened by far is Rubinson, with of course a silly little comment on one of the videos going over the situation which read, "Average furry," based Ruben as usual. Hudzell has also commented under all the available videos talking about the situation made by a select few, while the others with actual nuance to the situation seem to be left unnoticed, which is pretty interesting. The following is a recording of my genuine reaction to some of the videos covering the Hudzell situation. Please keep in mind the videos will be censored and pixelated to prevent false copyright strikes. I'm not sure if the people who made these videos are even willing to do that, as the drama's a little bit old, but just in case. Wow. All three of these will be linked in the description. If I find any more, they'll be linked as well. And yeah, let's just go ahead and start watching this. Is Hudzell the next Shane Dawson?
The reason why all of this happened was because of Hudzell stating his mind on Twitter. I'll preferably not go into depth in any of these topics, but if you want to learn more about them, you can look at Hudzell's Twitter account. Other developers were involved as well, but the main focus was on Hudzell. Almost everything was proven fake.
Almost everything was proven fake, and yet there's so much evidence of him being a sexual degenerate.
If something was proven true, he apologized, and it looked like he was very, very sorry.
This will probably be the last video ever on the Highlighter channel. YouTube thought I was subbotting.
Here is footage from a administrator explaining, quote unquote, what happened the day of the raid.
Black Hope says, can you please explain from your point of view what happened yesterday? Sure. Bud said some unfortunate things on Twitter that he's had to rephrase and take back, and then a lot of people took that really far and way past its original meanings. And I actually agree that HUD shouldn't be like on Twitter saying anything about these topics, but I think the other side is way more extreme, and they just take things way too far and way too personally.
Once again, downplaying the attack against the parkour community.
The day the Parkour Reborn server came to a halt, they spread a Discord server link where there was false rumors about serious topics that shouldn't be joked about, such as obesity and video. I'm not going to go into a deep discussion about that, but you can see Hudzell's response on the screen.
Again, doesn't go into detail about anything that happens on here. I'm not entirely sure why nobody who covered the situation decided to talk about like what was actually going on. The Discord server got raided, Yeah, don't pay attention to like everything else that was happening at the same time. Hudzell a couple days ago posted this to Twitter, and he's like wanting to quit the development of Parkour Reborn due to being harassed and having ADHD, which, I mean, to each their own, right? I guess that's fair. This is not the first time that he said something like this, and I think even on stream he said that he just doesn't like developing on Roblox, or he doesn't like his community or something like that. To be fair, the player base is like constantly begging for updates, and that would make me really mad. Oh my god. Look, dude, seriously, I honestly feel bad for how us as a community treated you after March 24th. There was no reason to it. The only reason was some words that had no proof behind it. Roll the screenshots? You do not deserve all the hate when you're trying to create something for us to enjoy. Joined November 2024, 0 followers. That's all for Jamesrr on 11/23/2024 at 5:38 p.m. I'm gonna do like an Apple style one more thing for this video because the information that I keep receiving, it just keeps piling on. Here's Hudzell on his alt discussing why Hitler didn't deserve to die. He replied to this tweet by Alexiad, which said, "Someone just left a Discord server I'm in because I said Hitler being dead is good." Hudzell goes in and says, "No one deserves to die. I believe celebrating death is not right. However, I also recognize that didn't he kill millions of Jews though? As a result of his ideology and his circumstances of power allowing him to project his influence to millions of people, resulting in unprecedented loss of life, a historic tragedy, but just as their death does not deserve to be celebrated, neither does his." This is just mind-boggling to me. Dude, it's Hitler. Okay. Hudzell is, without a doubt, a degenerate who has, like many others who are similar to him, defended the consumption of absolutely deplorable content, as well as consuming the deplorable content that he defends. However, what he is almost certainly not is a pedophile. There's no proof of him being one, and there never really has been. The takes he had in March were interesting to say the least. However, it looks like he's genuinely moved away from his opinions on Willie as a whole, and honestly, that's where I'm gonna leave it. Don't harass Hudzell, it doesn't do anything. Follow my Twitter, join the Discord. I've been Jamesrr, thank you for listening, and I'm out.
Words like tidal waves will sweep me off my quiet cage and count my fireplace and tell me while I lie awake. The moon's gotta go.